Hello guys, it's JD here. Today we are going to extend our repertoire, taking a closer look at what we call algebraic fractions. Last time I've introduced the module of algebra. We've covered a lot of topics so far. To those ones who have missed the previous videos, please watch out so that you'll be very much more familiar with what we call algebraic expressions, how best we simplify algebraic expressions, how best we remove brackets, taking a term, multiplying with an expression, or multiplying expressions. You must also go through some of the videos whereby we've learned how best we can factorize algebraic expressions. So today we are going to take a closer look at what we call algebraic fractions. So within algebraic fractions, we are going to learn how best we can add and subtract algebraic fractions. We are going to extend our understanding, taking a closer look at multiplication and division of algebraic fractions as well. Here on the board, there are some of the two problems that I have written. The first one, it's 2 over x minus 1 plus 3 over 2x minus 1. As you see, this one is a fraction. Remember, a fraction consists of a numerator and a denominator, but the kind of a fraction that we are dealing with here is what we call an algebraic fraction, because we have an unknown value here, right? This one again is an algebraic fraction. So what is taking place here? We have an algebraic fraction that we are adding with another algebraic fraction. So how best are we going to simplify this? This is very interesting. Back then in grade 5, you have learned how to add and subtract fractions. For instance, imagine if you have a fraction called a over b that you're trying to add with another fraction called c over d. The best way of adding these fractions, right, or what you have to do, find what we call the common multiple. So the common multiple of b and d, don't stress yourself. The common multiple of b and d is simply the product of the two. So the common multiple of b and d here is bd. So once you have bd, you then say b into bd. So obviously b will cancel a b and you remain with d, right? And that d times a, you get ad, right? And then you say d into bd. Obviously d will cancel d and you get b. So b times c, you get plus bc. Look, this is very simple and straightforward. Let me give you a hint so that you won't stress yourself. Simply take this number and multiply by this number and put this one here as your common multiple. And then the next thing, simply do what you call cross multiplication. Take a, multiply by d, write down the result, and then again take b, multiply by c, and then write down the result. That's how you add fractions. Remember, if I say what is 2 over 5 plus 1 over 3, straight away you start by looking at what we call the common multiple, and the common multiple of 5 and 3 straight away is 15, right? Simply say 5 times 3 and you get 15. Now you then say 5 into 15, you get 3, and 3 times 2, you get 6. So in other words, you simply say 2 times 3 and you get 6. And here you say 3 into 15, you get 5, and 5 times 1, you get 5. So simply say this times this, then you get 5. And if you work out this, you get 11 over 15. Very simple and straightforward. This was covered in earlier grades like grade 5, grade 6. But look, this concept is very simple and straightforward. This is the same principle that we are going to use to tackle a big problem here that we have here on part A. So on part A, we have 2 over x minus 1 plus 3 over 2x minus 1, right? So how are we going to simplify this? How are we going to simplify this? So like I said, when you're simplifying, when you're adding fractions, right? These are algebraic fractions. The first thing that you have to do is to identify what we call the common multiple. So the common multiple of x minus 1 and 2x minus 1 is basically the product of those two expressions. So in this case, we get x minus 1 times 2x minus 1. So that's our common multiple. And then what do we do next? So like I said, you say this one into this one. Obviously x minus 1 will cancel x minus 1 and you remain with 2x minus 1. So you take that 2x minus 1 and multiply by 2. So it is an expression that you are multiplying with a term. So you start writing a term and put the expression in bracket, which is 2x minus 1 in this case, right? So we're also going to say 2x minus 1 into this. So obviously 2x minus 1 will cancel 2x minus 1 and we are going to remain with x minus 1. So that x minus 1 times plus 3. So this is going to be plus 3 times x minus 1. Quite interesting. Now, once we have this problem, this is now a single fraction, but it still needs to be simplified further. If you take a closer look at the numerator here, we have a term that is multiplying an expression. We also have a term that is multiplying an expression. Back then, in other modules, we've seen how best we can remove brackets. Remember, let's say you have a term that is multiplying an expression. What I've said is that multiply all the terms inside the brackets, right, by a term outside the bracket. So here a times b, you get what is called ab. And a times c, you get what you call ac. We call this the distributive property. So you multiply all the terms inside the brackets by a term outside the bracket. So in this case, we are going to say 2 times 2x and this 2 times minus 1. We're also going to do the same thing here. We're going to say 3 times x and 3 times minus 1. Right? What do we get? So obviously at this point, if we say 2 times 2x, we're going to get 4x. If we say 2 times minus 1, we're going to get minus 2. If we say 3 times x, we're going to get 3x. If we say 3 times minus 1, we're going to get minus 3. All over x minus 1 times 2x minus 1. Right? And then what we have to do next, so after removing brackets on the numerator, we get what we call an algebraic expression. So how best do we simplify an algebraic expression? The best way to simplify an algebraic expression is to collect like terms. So you put like terms next to each other. Bear in mind that like terms are those terms that have the same variable. So in this case, 4x and 3x are like terms, so we put them next to each other. Minus 2 is a constant and minus 3 is also a constant, so we put these constants next to each other again. And what we get? We get minus 2 minus 3 all over x minus 1 times 2x minus 1. So by the end of the day, maybe you are wondering, why are we not simplifying the denominator? We are not much more interested in simplifying the denominator, especially in this case. Let's just simplify the numerator and keep it the denominator as it is. So okay, here I missed an x here. So what is now 4x plus 3x? We get 7x, right? And what is minus 2 minus 3? We get minus 5. You need to be very, very familiar with integers. How we add, subtract integers is a top priority when you're dealing with algebraic expressions. So here 4x plus 3x, yes, we get 7x, and minus 2 times minus 2 minus 3, we get minus 5 all over x minus 1 times 2x minus 1. So yes, that's how we simplify this algebraic fractions. So if you take this algebraic fraction and add with this algebraic fraction and follow all these procedures, by the end of the day we get this as our solution. So yes, that's how we add algebraic fractions. So what we are going to do now, we are going to take again a closer look at how we subtract algebraic fractions. But the concept that we use to subtract algebraic fractions is the same as that we use when we are adding algebraic fractions. Let's take a closer look at the subtraction of algebraic fractions. So here this is the problem that we have. So all what you have to do, like I say here, again, you keep the denominator. So your denominator is basically the product of these two. So it's going to be x plus 1. Okay, let me just quickly take this. So it's going to be x plus 1, right? That we are multiplying with 1 minus x, right? So once you have this common denominator, the next procedure, x plus 1 into this one, you get 1 minus x. So that 1 minus x times 4, so it will be 4 times 1 minus x. So you repeat again and say 1 minus x into this one, obviously you get x plus 1. So that x plus 1 times minus 3, so it will be minus 3 times x plus 1. Okay, this is equal to what? So now let's quickly simplify the numerator by expanding brackets. So obviously 4 times everything, we get 4 minus 4x. So we can only get this result if we take 4 and multiply all these results inside the brackets. Yes, we can get this as our answer. If we do the same thing here, minus 3 times x and minus 3 times 1, again we get minus 3x minus 3 all over x plus 1 times 1 minus x, right? So the next thing, again, like I said, we have to collect the like terms on the numerator. So if we do that, we are going to get 4 minus 3, these are constants that I have to put next to each other, minus 4x minus 3x. I also have to put these terms next to each other, all over 1 plus x, this is going to be x plus 1 times 1 minus x. Okay, now we have to get the final solution. So what are we going to do on the next part? We have to simplify these like terms. 4 minus 3, we get 1, and minus 4x minus 3x, straight away we get minus 7x all over x plus 1 times 1 minus x. So that will be our final solution. So yes, this is how we simplify algebraic fractions. It's very simple and straightforward. Please take this concept into consideration. A over b, whether you are adding or you are subtracting with c over d, get the common denominator, right, by simply multiplying these terms, and then on the top here simply do cross multiplication, and then you are done. Look at what we did on this problem. We looked at the common multiple. We simply take this and multiply and put them together. On the numerator, we simply take 2 and multiply by this, as you see here, this plus 3 times this, as you see here, and then we focused on expanding the numerator and simplify the like terms on that numerator and get our final answer. Here on the subtraction of algebraic fractions, we still maintain the same concept, common denominator. As you see here, we do cross multiplication. As you see here, cross multiplication. As you see here, we expanded the brackets and finally get this algebraic fraction, which we then simplify and get this final solution. So yes, that's how we add and subtract algebraic fraction. Here is an exercise that I want you also to try. I always say this to you guys, that the best way for you to develop mathematical muscles is also for you to do a lot of exercises. You can't have mathematical muscles by just watching me exercising, but you also have to exercise. So here is an exercise that I also want you to do. So number 1, I want you to simplify A. I want you to simplify 3 over x minus 4 minus 1 over x minus 5. On part B, I want you to simplify 12 over 1 minus 2x plus 3 over, let me say, 3x plus 1 over 1 minus 3x. So yes, I want you to do these two problems as an exercise. Submit for marking. If you feel like you're having any problems, don't hesitate to contact me. That's it. So we're going to extend again our understanding in another video, taking a closer look at multiplication and division of algebraic fractions. Awesome.